this. Is there any plans to make this playable on PC, or is this just strictly mobile forever?
Are there any? The current plan is to be on mobile, both Android and iOS. We don't have any plans at the moment to do PC. Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
Cracks me up every time, man. So, Activision. It's a name you've heard everywhere. If you're a gamer and you've played games in any sort of capacity, you have probably heard the game Activision at one point in your life. It's one of America's most prolific and successful video game companies. They earned over $7 billion in 2017, guys.
Wow.
And they probably earned a lot more in the years to follow. You probably know Activision from their most famous franchise called Call of Duty. But that's not why we're here today. We're here because apart from Call of Duty, Activision also really likes to make money. So, Activision was founded in 1979 by two former Atari employees called David Crane and Alan Miller. These two guys, look at how humble they look, look at how nice they look. And they left Atari because they weren't getting paid enough, because they were making the company almost $100 million in profits every year, and Atari straight up told them that they were not as important to the company. So they left Atari and they made their own company where they said that programmers and their rights will be respected, and see where it's gotten them. So the company may have had humble beginnings, but everything changed when the Fire Nation attacked. In 2003, Activision released their biggest franchise to date. That franchise being Call of Duty. Call of Duty, just right out of the gates, it's sold like a massive firestorm. This game was everywhere, and for good reason too. It was a fun time, and the news was on top of it. All the parents were on top of it.
Call of Duty.
Call of Duty.
I bet you really gotta watch where you step in a game called Heroes Duty.
See, if you weren't going hard, you were not playing Call of Duty. If you were a gamer in any sort of capacity, you knew about Call of Duty. This game was everywhere. They kept making sequels year by year, earning a lot more year by year. Their biggest game being Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3, which on its release in 2011 sold 6.5 million copies in 24 hours. 6.5 million in 24 hours, which was over $400 million in revenue. And just for perspective, guys, the biggest grossing movie of all time in 2011 was Harry Potter and the Deathly Hallows Part 2, which brought in $483 million in one weekend. Call of Duty, in just 24 hours, was well on its way to beating that record, to beating a movie, not let alone video games. It was on its way to beating a movie record. This franchise had no plans on stopping. Even the latest edition, Call of Duty Black Ops 4, was recorded to make $500 million at launch in 2018. This is in 2018 where there are more games like Overwatch, like Rainbow Six Vegas, like even free alternatives like CSGO. There's Fortnite. Even with all this competition, Call of Duty Black Ops 4 still pulled in $500 million on launch. Everyone from Ninja to Shroud to Dr. Disrespect to even the Overwatch guys, even XQC, were just playing Black Ops 4 non-stop. This game created massive amounts of hype, and for good reason too. It's a good game.
Oh, baby, a triple!
But where Call of Duty is a fun game, it does have a dark side. If you have ever jumped into a game of Call of Duty, you've probably heard the phrase, "your mom," followed by some very not so family friendly terms Call of Duty, in its time, became known as one of the world's most toxic franchises. And I know League of Legends is toxic, guys, but Call of Duty was, bar none, the most toxic game just because it had the most amount of players. And it still gets this toxic community. Call of Duty is still known to bring in this toxic community.
Do not bully people.
So Activision was doing fairly well for themselves. And in 2007, after roughly two or three, after roughly two releases of Call of Duty, they were in a really good spot. They announced that the company and all of its assets would be merged with Blizzard Entertainment. Blizzard being obviously the franchise most loved for World of Warcraft, for the Diablo series, and most recently even Overwatch. And in 2010, Activision expanded its family of developers again and signed a 10-year-long publishing deal with the creators of Destiny, Bungie. And it seemed to work out really well for them, right? They had this amazing game that was earning them a lot of money. They had great business partners, but Activision also acquired another company. And this one was different to their other acquisitions. This little company was known as King. King was not really relevant in the PC gaming industry, but they were totally killing it in the mobile gaming market. King had a little game called Candy Crush Saga. And if you've ever had a phone, which by the way,
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have
Everyone's got a
phones, right?
if you've ever had a phone, you've probably heard of the game Candy Crush Saga. It's a cute little color match game where you would match candies of the same colors with each other to gain points. Now, that's all great, right? However, this game was so addictive that King put in place this great monetary model which allowed them to basically limit a player's turns and uses in the game and then charge them real world money to continue playing that game.
Oh, he's stealing! He's stealing!
Now, that's all fine. Lots of mobile games do that, right? The problem is that Activision took note of this. They took note of this little business model. They figured out that they could charge players for in-game items using real money. And they could implement this in pretty much any game. So, in 2014, Activision released their phenom of a franchise yet again.
Democracy? Democracy. Democracy is not what these people need. Hell, it's not even what they want.
They released Call of Duty Advanced Warfare, and they made a very special edition in this game. They made the edition of supply drops. So, a supply drop was basically an in-game item that you could purchase with real-world money using your mom's credit card and the 3 special numbers on the back.
Attention, all Call of Duty gamers. Ajax is in great danger in Nuketown Island and he needs your help. All he needs is your credit card number, the 3 digits on the back, the expiration month and year, and your social security number.
And basically what it gave you was some new guns and some customizable gear. So this was a game that you had to purchase for $60. And then in the game, there were some things that you could only earn if you paid even more money inside the game. So Activision already has its amazing franchise, but that franchise has a toxic 12-year-old community that really likes my mother for some reason, and also now had this amazing idea of charging players for the game, initially $60 or more, and then for items within the game. So all this is great, we know all this, right? But how does this, you're asking yourself, how does this affect the video game industry at large? I mean, sure, Activision is doing this, EA is doing this, they're all doing this, but why is it ruining the video game industry? Well, if you remember, I did mention Activision merged with Blizzard. Activision acquired Bungie. Activision has a huge standing point in the video game industry. So, Bungie recently got out alive, and they weren't affected as badly with Activision's business model, but that still leaves another company on the table. And that company is Blizzard. There's countless amounts of news stories coming out these days. Lots and lots of creative minds behind the company Blizzard are abandoning their posts and resigning because of the ideas and the business models that Activision brings to the table. We already know that Activision has sort of ruined a beloved franchise known as Diablo by creating this monstrosity of a video game. But remember, guys,
Do you guys not have phones?
Yeah, you guys all have phones, right?
and many analysts predict that next on the chopping board might be Overwatch, making Overwatch a free-to-play game, flooding Overwatch's player base with the toxic community that Activision is known for. And then who knows, maybe World of Warcraft is next. Maybe World of Warcraft becomes a free-to-play loot box only game. The point I'm trying to make here is, in our current day and age, Activision holds a lot of power in the video game industry. They already have their beloved Call of Duty franchise, but they have control over so many other beloved franchises. They had control over Diablo. They have control over Overwatch. They have control over World of Warcraft. What they do with this power may end up deciding what trends the video game industry takes in the future. Whether it remains to be an industry that celebrates creative individuals and innovative creativity, or will it become an industry that just wants to create cookie cutter games out of franchises that we've all grown up with and that we all love, and just print lots and lots of money with these cookie cutter games that nobody wants to play anymore? But as always, the choice is up to Activision. So if you like my thoughts, please do subscribe. And if you have phones, then let me know down below if you're actually gonna try playing Diablo Immortals, if you're actually gonna try and check it out. And what do you think about what's going on in the video game industry and how it affects all the games and all the game franchises that you already love? Thank you for watching, and I will see you later. Bye!